Good afternoon, all. I welcome all of you to the Unit 4 of International Logistics and Supply Chain Management, that is, Demand Measurement and Management. So, already we have covered the last 3 units of International Logistics and Supply Chain Management. Today, we are going to discuss basically about the demand measurement and how the demand will be managed. So, in this chapter, we'll discuss the introduction part of the demand forecasting. Then we'll discuss the components of forecast, methods of demand forecasting, qualitative methods of forecasting, time series analysis of forecasting, simple moving average, weighted moving average. After that, we will discuss the single smoothing method, then trend adjusted exponential smoothing methods. Last, we will discuss about the blue whip effect. So after completion of this chapter, you are able to understand these above points. So as we know, demand management is how you oversee and manage customers' demand. It involves the understanding what your customer want, plus the necessary steps to fulfill those wants. So this helps you plan for upcoming demand and make sure you are in a place to meet it. So demand supply chain management is the supply chain management, but it emphasis on consumer pull versus supplier push. The demand chain begins with the customers, then funnels through the resellers, distributors, and other business partners who help the sell the company's product and services. So demand management is a pivotal aspect, or it is one of the important aspect of the supply chain management that focuses on understanding, forecasting, and influencing the customer demand to ensure that an organization can meet it efficiently. So demand management encompasses a range of activities aimed at aligning on one organization's supply chain process with the customer's demand. Its primary goal is to achieve a delicate balance between the supply and demand to optimize the use of resources and enhance the customer satisfaction. There are different key aspects are there, and as we know, customers' needs and wants are changing with the passage of time, because by the passage of time, the wants and needs are also changing, and the focus of companies is shifting from products and services towards providing the better experience and personalized to the consumers, because time by time, when the demand will change, the customer's preference will change. Accordingly, the company must have to take care of this. But before some years ago, earlier the companies were producing the tangible products, and customers used to wait for the weeks or months for the delivery of those products. But now it has been changed. The focus of the companies has shifted towards consumers' behavior and other aspects. It is one of the important aspects. So now after discussing this, let us know what is the demand. We are studying the demand forecasting, demand management, but what is the demand? The purchaser's wish and capability to acquire a good or service at a specific time, that is known as demand. For an example, demand for smartphones, superbikes, luxury cars, e-vehicles, this is known as your demand. Then another word, what is forecasting? A forecast, it is not real. You are forecasting, you are estimating. A forecast is an estimate of a future event achieved by systematically combining and casting forward in a predetermined way about the data related to the past. You will forecast for the future, but how you will forecast? By taking the data of the past. This is the meaning of forecasting. And demand forecasting is the projection and prediction of demand of various materials by location, stock keeping units, that is known as SKUs, and the time period which is critical to success of the supply chain management. The primary objective of the demand forecasting is to have the right product in the right position at the right time in the right quantity. What is the primary objective? Is to have the right product, right position, right time, and right quantity. Forecasting brings planning and coordination between production and capacity of facilities, and it facilitates also the supply chain managers to proactively allocate the resources appropriately so as to have a smooth interface between them. So these demand forecastings has some key aspects. The demand forecasting, basically accurate demand forecasting, is the cornerstone of the demand management. And organizations use the historical data, market trends, statistical models to predict the future demand for their products or services. Second key aspect is demand planning. When demand is forecasted, the demand planning involves the creating strategies and action plans to meet that demand. It includes the decisions about inventory levels, production demand, and also the procurement. Another aspect is demand shaping. What is the demand shaping? The demand shaping, it is also involves the influencing customers' demand through marketing and pricing strategy. For an example, offering promotions or discounts during off-peak periods can help the smooth demand. Another is demand sensing. What is that? The demand sensing refers to the real-time monitoring of the customer demand signals. These are some of the key aspects. Now let us discuss about the time horizon of the forecasting. What are the time horizon of the forecasting? One is short-term forecast. What is that short-term forecast? It is generally considered for 3 months into the future. Short-term, the name itself indicates the time period is very short. So it is 3 months into the future. And short-term forecast can be daily, it can be weekly, it can be monthly or annually. For an example, like inventory management, supplier schedule, etc. It is a short-term forecast. But what is mid-term forecast, medium-term forecast? It is considered for the time period between 3 months and less than 2 years. But I told it is between, the range is from 3 months to less than 2 years. For an example, what are coming under this medium-term forecast? Like your personnel management, raw material required for a specific time. These are coming under the medium-term forecast. Then another is long-term forecast. On the basis of time horizon, it is divided. One is your short-term, another is your medium-term, another is long-term. Usually these have the time period of more than 2 years. These are generally strategic decisions taken by the top management, top level management of the organizations. What are the different examples coming under this? Like plant location, plant layout, these are coming under the long-term forecast. So as per the time horizon of forecasting, some are short-term forecast, which is between 3 months. What is medium-term forecast? It is the range is from 3 months to less than 2 years. And long-term forecast, this is beyond 2 years. This is about the time horizon of forecasting. Now comes to what are the components of the forecast? What are the different components? In the supply chain management, the perspectives, demand forecasting needs a quantitative representation. It is a quantitative representation for planning and coordination purposes, whose value is actually made of 6 components. And these components are basically are base demand, seasonal factors, trends, cyclic factors, promotions, irregular quantities. These are the components. What are I told? One is your base demand, another is your regional factor, seasonal factors, another is trade, cyclic factors, promotions, irregular quantities. Assuming that the base demand is the average sales level, the other components are indexes or factors that are multiplied by the base level to make a positive or negative adjustment. So in these components, after this, let us know about what are the methods of demand forecasting, because forecasting also follows some of the methods. Otherwise, how we can forecast? So how that demand will be forecasted? There are different methods are there. Like one is your qualitative methods. What is that qualitative methods? These methods are generally based on the opinions of the experts and judgments of that particular field. These are generally based on the opinions of the experts and judgments. Basically, these are subjective in nature. Qualitative methods are basically subjective in nature. Some of the qualitative methods are market research, panel consensus, historical analogy methods, Delphi methods. These are coming under qualitative methods. Second method is time series analysis. What is the time series analysis? It is generally using the past data, the series of information, series data, past series data to estimate the future event. And companies are basically using the past sales numbers of the products so as to estimate the probable future sales numbers. And past data is having various indicators like horizontal indicators, trend indicators, seasonal indicators, seasonal variation indicators, cyclical fluctuation indicators, random variation indicators. So all these informations are basically considered in the time series analysis. Third is causal forecasting method. Here, there are the relationships are critically analyzed in the causal forecasting methods, such as your econometric models, linear regressions, multiple regressions. As you know, these are the methods where the relationship will be critically analyzed. So it is known as causal forecasting methods. Another method is simulation method. Generally, companies using the Monte Carlo simulations methods for estimating the future demand. What I told, Monte Carlo simulation method for estimating the future demand. We are using that simulation method. So one by one, let us discuss in detail the qualitative methods of forecasting. As you know, these methods are usually influenced by the experience of the concerned persons and their biases towards the certain situations and circumstances. These are basically focused to the market research, panel consensus, historical analogy methods. These are the things. And in market research, when an organization is launching a new product or updating the existing product, then the market research is used by the organization. For what? And to collect the views or suggestions from the customers with the support of various tools like questionnaires, telephone calls, interviews, etc. Because unless and until we will take the help of any questionnaires, telephone calls, or interviews, how we can collect the data, how we can research the market. So market research, basically it is adapted when a company will launching a new product or updating. It may be launching new product or updating the any existing product. Then another is your panel consensus. This method is based on the assumption that two people are better than one person, meaning by two heads can take better decision in a particular situation. So in a panel consensus, a team of people from various walks of life are formed to discuss a given problem. Next is your historical analogy method. Historical analogy method. This method is used when the company is launching a new product and that product does not exist in the market. It is newly introduced in the market. So the company takes the data of the similar or related products. Possibly, the customer will purchase the existing product whose attributes may be similar to the new launched product. So what you understood from the historical analogy method? It is basically used when the company launching a new product and which product does not exist in the market before that. So company takes the data of the similar or related products because that products are not available. And possibly the customers will purchase the existing product whose attributes may be similar. Product may be new, but the attributes may same or similar to the new launch product. So here in the historical analogy methods, these are the things considered. Next come to time series analysis of forecasting. The name itself, what you understood, time series analysis. It considers a series of data. In the time series analysis, uses the past data of the product to estimate the future demand of the product. So generally, demand for products is having the different aspects. For an example, an automobile company uses the past data of the last 4 weeks to predict the demand of the next week, that may be for the 5th week. Generally, the demand for products is having the following aspects. It may be horizontal aspects. The demand of the product usually fluctuates around some certain values. But what trend tells, data follows a particular pattern in the form of increase or decrease. So, for an example, on one hand, demand for smartphone is increasing in the metros, which is on the other hand, The demand for feature phones is also declining in the metros, because one demand is increasing means some others are affecting, others are decreasing, demands are decreasing. So this the trend analysis, these are the considered. And another is your seasonal. So demand of the product increase or decrease with the change in the season or time of day, week, month, quarter, etc. It may be changed day wise, week wise, month wise, or quarter wise. You can say now in the demand for ice cream increase basically in the summer season, whereas demand for body warmers increase in winter season. So it is a seasonal effect. The demand of the product increase as per the change in the season. So likewise, there are some in the monthly also there are some changing. Quarter-wise, some of the products of the demand are changing. So all these are the different methods adapting in the time series analysis of the forecast. Another is cyclical. Demand of the product changes after a certain duration of time. For an example, the demand for e-vehicles will increase in the coming future. It is clearly understood. But in the random, we can say the demand for product depends on the factors which cannot be assigned. What are the examples? It may be the demand for certain products will depend on the earthquake or famine. It is not certain. It depends on the certain events, certain incidents. It may become randomly. It is not a regular activity. Okay, so these are the different demand forecasting methods. Then let us know what is about the simple moving average. Here we'll discuss some of the practical problems. Basically, in simple moving average, what happens? It is used when the data is neither increasing nor decreasing with the passage of time. Data is neither increasing nor decreasing. Then what happens? Moreover, the data is also not having seasonal fluctuation also. So in this method, the future value of the product depends upon the average value of the previous year's data. Because there is not any increasing or decreasing in the passage of time. So we have to take the average value of the previous year's data here. One of the practical example I am discussing, please let us understand and listen. For an example, the demand of microwaves oven in the first, second and third week of September for the XYZ company is 30, 32 and 31. Then what is the forecasted demand of microwave ovens for the fourth week of the September month? Again, listen the question first. The demand for microwave ovens in the first, second and third week of September month of XYZ company is 30, 32 and 30 week. That means for first week it is 30, for second week it is 32 and for third week it is 31. Then what is the forecasted demand of microwave ovens for the fourth week of the September? Already 3 week data available. First week it is 30, second week it is 32, third week it is 31. Then what will be the demand in the fourth week as per the simple moving average? So fourth week, the forecasted demand for fourth week, suppose we have to take the symbol as F4. So F4, how we can calculate? F4 will be, or forecasted demand for fourth week will be, is equal to actual demand of first week plus actual demand of second week plus actual demand of third week divided by n. So here n is 3. because first, second, and third month data is available. Third week data is available. So n will be 3. So how we can find out the forecasted demand of the fourth week? Now, F4 is equal to 30 plus 32 plus 31 divided by 3. It will be 31 units. So the forecasted demand for the fourth week of the September month is 31 units. So how we can get that 31 units? Now it will be by calculating the actual demand of first week, actual demand of second week, and actual demand of third week. We have to add all these 3-week demand divided by the number. Number means 3. Here n is equal to 3 because 3-week data is available. So by this way, we can calculate the simple moving average in these methods, forecasting methods. Then comes to weighted moving average. Weighted moving average. As we know, simple moving average gives equal weight to the past data. Have you seen in the previous example? We have taken equal importance. We have given equal importance. We have to add all these 3 and divided by the number of times. Suppose n is equal to 3 in the previous example. So in simple moving average, it gives equal weight to the past data. Whereas in the weighted moving average, it assigns the different weights to the past data. Here it is not like simply moving average, all are equal. So what in this method, it is based on the assumption that past should be treated differently. How? Now for an example, most recent data can be assigned weight as 60% and the weight assigned to the rest of the data as 40%. Recently collected data, we have to give the weightage as 60% and the previous was assigned 40% weightage. But one thing must have to keep our mind while assigning the weights, that assigned value should be 1. So how? Please see this question. ABC company or ABC an organization is selling 200, 180 and 212 inverters in the month of January, February and March. Then what is the weighted moving average of inverters for the month of April? So weight assigned for January is 20%, February is 30%, March is 50%. So see, here total will be 100% and it is equal with 1. So here, please see how I am solving this. Here weights assigned to the month of January is 20%, you have seen. Assigned to the February is 30% and weights for the month of March is 50%. Why? Because March is the recent and February is the previously. Then January is much more previous than February. So according to the weight varies. The recent is taken as 50%, then that is 30%, then January is 20%. But actual demand in the month of January is 200. Please see the question. The actual demand, ABC is selling 200 in month of January. In February it is 180 and March it is 212. So what happens? Actual demand in the month of January it is 200 and actual demand in the month of February you have seen now it is 180 and actual demand in the month of March it is 212. Already in the question it is available. So now what is the forecasted demand for the month of April? Suppose the symbol is FT. How we can calculate the forecasted demand for the month of April? Now weightage January into demand of January plus weightage of weights assigned for February into demand of the actual demand for February plus weights assigned to the month of March into actual demand in the month of March. So what will happen? in the for the January, what is the weight we have assigned? 20%. So it will be 0.20, and actual demand is 200. So it will be 0.20 into 200 plus weights assigned in the month of February. See, it is 30%. So we can write 0.30, and actual demand is 180. Actual demand in the month of February is 180. So it will be written 0.30 into 180. But in the month of March, the weightage assigned to the month of March is 50%. So it will be written as 0.50, and actual demand in the month of March is 212. So 0.50 into 212. So by adding all these, the value will be 200 units. So see, we can say the weighted moving average for the month of April will be 200 units. Okay, are you getting my point? How we are solving this question in weighted moving average method? Clear? So then comes to the single smoothing method. The single smoothing method. So simple moving average and weighted moving average requires large amount of data to forecast the future demand. Yes or no? So single smoothing method is based on the assumption that the latest occurrence of data is more effective in estimating the future value. It does not consider so many informations or so many years data. It requires only the latest occurrence. So here it requires the less amount of data, and single smoothing method requires the actual data of the previous time period and smoothing constant as alpha, and this alpha value always lies between 0 and 1. Moreover, keep the customer service value as of alpha as low if the data is stable, or vice versa. If it is not low, then it is will be high. So in the single smoothing method, please see this example how we are solving this. XY company uses this single smoothing method to forecast the demand. So here the forecast of for the second week of March was 200 units, whereas the actual demand of the second week of March was 250 units. See, forecast demand is 200 units, but actual demand in the month of March is 250 units. So what is the forecast of the third week of March? Assume here the value of alpha is equal to 0.2. So now let us solve this. So first we have to know actual demand for second week of March is 250 units. Already it is mentioned in the question. And forecasted demand for the second week of March is 200 units. So here single smoothing constant alpha is equal to 0.2. So how we can forecast a demand for the third week of March? We can calculate. Suppose the symbol of the forecasted demand for the third week of March is FT. So FT is equal to FT minus 1 plus alpha into D demand, T minus 1 minus F T minus 1. So here what is F T minus 1? That means T minus time period, minus 1 means previous. So here the previous period is March. So here the forecasted demand of that particular month of we can say March is 200, and alpha already given 0.2. But demand for the T minus 1, it is 250 units, and T forecasted demand of that particular time period is 200 units. So by calculating all, 200 plus 0.2 into 250 minus 200 is equal to 210 units. So here in the single smoothing forecasted demand for third week of March will be 210 units. Have you understood how we can solve this particular situation? Okay. Now let us come to the trend adjusted exponential smoothing method. Trend adjusted exponential smoothing method. As you know, sometimes the data is having various fluctuation and it is difficult to estimate the future value. So to correct the trend in the past data, two smoothing constants are used in the form of one is alpha, another is beta, where beta constant is used for smoothing the trend. Generally, the value of alpha and beta constant are known, or these constants can be calculated from the past data also. Unless and until you can take the value of alpha and beta, that those are constant, these constants can be calculated. How it can be calculated, the beta value and alpha value? Now, from the past data. Okay, this is about the trend adjusted exponential smoothing method. So till now we are discussing different forecasting methods. Next, let us know about the blue whip effect. So before going to the blue whip effect, let us know some of the significance of that particular demand management. What are the different significance of that particular demand management? As we know, there are different significance and importance of the demand managements are there, and demand management plays a crucial role in the supply chain operations for several supply chain management functions. So among them, one is the importance or significance is efficient resource allocation. After this, we will discuss the blue whip effect. Before discussing the blue whip effect, let us know some of the significance of the demand management. One is efficient resource allocation. What it means? By accurately forecasting and planning for demand, organizations can optimize the allocation of resources, reducing the risk of overstocking or stockouts. Understood? One significance or importance is by accurately forecasting and planning for demand, organizations can optimize the allocation of resources, reducing the risk of overstocking or stockouts. Then another significance is cost reduction. What is that cost reduction? Efficient demand management can lead to cost savings by minimizing the excess inventory carrying cost and production inefficiencies. Another significance is customer satisfaction, because you know everything is meant for the customer. So meeting customers' demand promptly and reliably, you have to prove, uh, you have to adapt very quickly, you have to prompt quickly and reliably. The promptness and reliableness enhance the customer satisfaction and loyalty, because you know in a customer priority market, you know, unless and until you will make your customer satisfied, you cannot exist in the market. Now So many organizations are thinking about the customer's delight. They are not thinking about customer satisfaction only. So customer satisfaction is also another significant factors. Another is enhanced responsiveness. Enhanced responsiveness. So effective demand sensing and shipping enable the organizations to adapt quickly to changing market conditions and customer preferences. So here, enhance the responsiveness, you have to increase your responsiveness. How? By effective demand sensing and shipping enable organizations to adapt quickly to the changing market condition. Next is your risk mitigation. Demand management helps in identifying and mitigating the risk associated with the supply chain disruptions, ensuring business continuity. So there is five significant of the demand management. We have to know. One is your efficient resource allocation. Next is your cost reduction. Next, customer satisfaction. Then enhance the responsiveness. Then risk mitigation. So now comes to the blue whip effect. So what is that blue whip effect tells? This is a phenomenon of the blue whip effect in the supply chain occurs when information about demand becomes increasingly disrupted as it moves upstream in the manufacturing process. So this is a phenomenon. You can take the Procter and Gamble first noticed this phenomenon with the USA when the company examined the order patterns for its diaper brand or Pampers, you can say. So sales of the diaper brand at retail stores were fluctuating, but the variability was not excessive. So this was because the frequency of the purchase at a single retail store is more or less constant or at least predictable, since the same families shop at a particular neighborhood retail store and babies change diapers at known intervals. So here from this concept, this is introduced this phenomenon, that is your blue whip effect. So this blue whip effect phenomenon first identified by Wang et al. In 1995, which refers to the variation in reaction down the length of a whip after it is cracked. So resulting is an expensive manufacturing problems. So here he explains that the blue whip effect happens in manufacturing when information about consumer demand for any product becomes increasingly distorted as it moves upstream in the manufacturing process. So here we can say, we can remember the key components of the demand management in connection with the blue whip effect. There are different key components of the demand management, like the data analytics, collaboration, technology, and continuous improvement. So in between I am discussing the key components of the demand management. I can say one component is your data analytics. It is a tool or technique that are essential for processing and analyzing large data sets to generate the accurate demand forecast. Second is your collaboration. You know, collaboration among the different departments, including sales, marketing, and supply chain, is crucial for the effective demand management. because we are now discussing about the demand and forecasting everything. Another key component will be technology. You know, the advanced softwares and technology solutions such as the demand planning software, enterprise resource planning, ERP, what you are telling, your ERP systems, the facilitates the demand management process. Next key component we can say that is your continuous improvement. One is your data analytics, second is your collaboration, third is your technology, fourth is your continuous improvement. So organizations should continuously review and refine their demand management process to adapt the changing market dynamics. So these are the four key components of the demand management we have to consider. One is your data analytics, second is your collaboration, third is your technology, fourth is your continuous improvement. So the blue whip effect, we can say, as it is the first introduced in Wangetal in 1995, which refers to the variation in the reaction down the length of a whip wafer. It is a whip wafer, it is cracked. And resulting is an expensive manufacturing problems, which results in expensive manufacturing problems. So here he explains that the blue whip effect happens in manufacturing when information about the consumer demand for any product becomes increasingly disrupted as it moves upstream in the manufacturing processes. So here in the blue whip effect also, another traditional business practice that leads to the blue whip effect is batching orders at certain times of the month or year. So here in the batching orders, there will be a certain time of the month or the year, and companies make a practice of batching. From the batch it is coming batching because it saves time and money. Both. It will save the time and money. It is a very cheaper, for an example, to transport the infrequent large orders than the frequent small ones. Likewise, the administrative cost also of generating one large order of a certain item are smaller than the cost of generating many small orders of the same item. So these things also considered. But while sporadic ordering is cheaper, it leads to unsettling the source in demand on the manufacturing side also. So here we can say in this blue whip effect, a final strike against the blue whip effect would be to minimize the price incentives. So when the manufacturers offers the bargains, retailers stockpile inventory and do not order again for the months. This is not the way to keep the supply chain running smoothly. So here, after the blue whip effect, now comes to we are discussing about the demand management, and here we can say in the demand management, there is a fundamental element of the supply chain management that enables the organizations to balance supply and demand effectively. So by embracing the demand forecasting, planning, shaping, and sensing, the organizations can optimize the resource allocation, reduce the cost, enhance the customer satisfaction, and remain agile in the dynamic business environment. So here we can say there is in the demand forecasting management a lot of methods we have to follow, we have to see. And in the blue whip effect also, what we discussed, now let us know what are the net impact of the blue whip effect on supply chain. Is there any positive effect or a positive impact or not? The blue whip effect will have a number of negative effects in the overall supply chain operation of a farm, such as excessive investment on inventory throughout the supply chain to safeguard against the variations. So number one negative effect, we can say excessive investments on inventory. Second is poor customer service, as some part of the supply chain runs out of the products due to variability and insufficient means of for coping with the variation. So excessive investment, poor customer service. Third is loss of revenues. Why? Due to shortage which have been caused by the variations. Fourth effect is the productivity of invested capital in operations becomes the substandard as revenues are lost. And basically, the decision makers react to the fluctuations in the demand and make investment decisions or change capacity plans to meet the peak demands. So here, the negative impact of the blue heap effect, have some negative impacts like excessive investments, poor customer service, loss of revenues due to shortages, the productivity of invested capital in operations becomes substandard because as revenues are lost. Fifth is decision makers react to the fluctuations in the demand and make investment decisions or change capacity plans to meet the peak demands. These are the impacts of the blue heap effect on the supply chains. So then comes to another impact is demand variations cause variations in the logistics network, which again cause the fluctuations in the demand in the plant use of the transportation capacity, and this will again produce suboptimal transportation schemes and increase the transportation cost. This is another effect. And demand fluctuation caused by the blue heap effect may cause missed production schedules, which actually are completely unnecessary. As there are no real change in the demand, only inefficiencies in the supply chain is a matter here. So these two another impact or effect on the blue heap effect. Next comes to the remedies of blue heap effect. We know these are the different effects. Then what will be the remedies? Nowadays, companies are timely identifying the blue heap effect, and top management are deeply thoughtful about the roots of the blue heap effect. Because the day has gone, now the different logistic manager, different marketing manager, their operation manager, they are proactively identifying everything. If these are the negative effect, these are the effect, then what will be the remedies? They are proactively identifying. And different new methods have been implemented by different companies which have the power to address the blue heap effect partially. And on the basis of coordination mechanism, companies categorize the various initiatives and remedies, specifically sharing of information, alignment for channel, and the operational efficiency. So the top term operational efficiency tells or denotes the actions which aim at advancement in the performance, like reduction in the cost and lead time, and various measures are adopted by the companies to govern the blue heap effect. So these are the different remedies. One is your the organizations are proactively identifying these blue heap effect by the top management, and different new methods have been implemented by the different companies to address the blue heap effect partially. And there is a, on the basis of coordination mechanism, companies are basically categorize the various initiatives and remedies, specifically the sharing of information, alignment for channel and operational efficiency. And the term operational efficiency denotes the actions which aim at advancement in performance, like reduction in cost and lead time. Various measures are adopted by the companies to govern the blue heap effect. These are the remedies of the blue heap effect. Then, how we can avoid the multiple demand forecast updates? How we can avoid that? So every stakeholder of the supply chain conducts some sort of the product forecasting in connection with the smooth planning process. Whenever any member in the supply chain make its own forecast using the information about the demand at his own immediate downstream level, then blue heap effects are created. The input for the demand which is provided by the downstream member often struggles with the forecasting estimate received from its own member present at the downstream level, and to resolve the problem instigated due to the repetitive dispensations of the data about the consumption in the supply chain, and which is generally recommended to make information about the demand at a downstream level available to the next immediate upstream level. So that will be immediate. That will be about the demand at the downstream level available to the next immediate upstream level. So with this way, we can avoid the multiple demand forecast updates. Then break order batches. What is that break order batches? As we know, companies used order in the supply chain process, and thus it contributes to the blue heap effect. So companies need to develop novel approaches that lead to smaller lots or added frequently resupply. When information about the consumption data is received by an upstream firm, its customers at downstream level on a static and intervallic schedule, then they will not be astonished by a surge in demand, which results in order involving large size batching. So by this way, the break order batches, we can say, then stabilize prices. What is that stabilize prices? Is the meekest means for regulating the effect of blue heap effect triggered due to the forward buying and diversions, which is required for diminishing together the rate and the level of discounting available in the wholesale prices. Using unvarying or stable wholesale pricing policy, the amount of incentives provided for retail forward buying can be reduced to a significant extent. So this is about the stabilized prices. It is one of the meekest means for regulating the effect of blue heap effect triggered due to the forward buying and diversions. Next comes to after the stabilized price, how we can eliminate the gaming in shortage situations. Whenever a shortage is faced by a supplier at an upstream level, it is better to allocate the products as per the previous record of sales instead of distributing on the basis of order. So there is no incentive for the customers to amplify their orders. This method for allocation is also used by General Motors when customer service there is a shortage in supply. And also another company such as Hewlett Packard is using the allocation method in its supply chain process. And for reducing the client's nervousness, which indulges in gaming, it is better to share information about the level of capacity available along with the stock of inventory. So by this way, we can eliminate the gaming in shortage situations. So by in this chapter, we can conclude the demand management is a fundamental element of the supply chain management that enables the organizations to balance the supply and demand effectively. So by embracing the demand forecasting, planning, shaping, and sensing, the organizations can optimize resource allocation, reduce the cost, enhance the customer satisfaction, and remain agile in a dynamic business environment. So by this way, we have covered this unit 4 and different concept we have already discussed, how the demand will be demand management, how the demand will be forecasted, and different methods of this unit. So thank you all.